Have you ever wondered how your sales performance compares against your competitors and peers? The B2B Sales Benchmark Report provides the definitive guide to what success looks like in 2021. See how you compare in terms of win rate, sales cycle, average deal value, relationships, and engagement. You can see the results and get the full report at ebsta.com/B2B-sales-benchmarks. This is Sales Ops Demystified, the #1 most downloaded podcast in sales operations. We invite the brightest minds in sales operations onto the show to deconstruct the why, what, and how behind rep productivity, forecasting, metrics, and all things revenue. This podcast is brought to you by Ebsta, the leading customer engagement platform for Salesforce. Hello and welcome to another very special episode of the Sales Ops Demystified podcast. We're joined by Mark Feldman of Localytics. Now, this is going to be an interesting chat because Mark's route into sales ops, or actually revenue operations, is through marketing, which is actually my heart and background. So, Mark, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Tom. I'm excited to be here.
So let's kick off with the first question about how you initially got into sales, or in this case, revenue operations.
Yeah, so I did not take a straight kind of typical sales ops path. My career started out in Boston in the dot-com boom, and I worked for a startup that grew fast. And then I started my own company, and I've always been interested in growth marketing. And I was really fortunate, lucky to end up in 2008 at a company in Boston called Net Prospects that eventually got acquired by Dun & Bradstreet, but was really kind of an innovative pioneer in B2B contact data. And the company, I was the 8th employee, is a really new company. We were really at the forefront of the whole demand gen movement. It was right during the kind of global recession, and marketing was under a lot of scrutiny. And marketers were trying to show that they create value for the business and create pipeline and are connected to revenue. So what we did was, at the time, just selling B2B contacts was really innovative and new, and marketers are really glumming onto the new demand gen. So I led demand gen and marketing for Net Prospects, and kind of created a demand gen program for us that led to triple-digit growth 5 years in a row, and taught the industry how to do outbound demand gen through webinars and content marketing. And I really, really just loved growth. And through my career, I've always just loved doing growth. And then I was on the marketing track. So I was head of marketing at a few different companies, and one of them was I helped grow the company from, as head of marketing, from $50 to $150 million in 3 years. And I just really loved the growth part, the digital part, but I wasn't so enamored with the kind of big M marketing, the PR, the branding, the colors of the logo. I appreciate it. It's interesting, but it's not really where my heart is. So just having been at the forefront of demand gen marketing ops, I was just looking to pivot my career trajectory from straight kind of marketing and on the CMO track to somewhere where I'm just part of marketing that I'm really passionate about. I've had to do sales before, so revenue ops is a natural fit, and it's a new area. So I was really lucky that Localytics came along and really just created the dream position for me. So it's sales ops, marketing ops, go-to-market strategy, just really helping us grow. So it's a perfect role for me.
Got it. So it doesn't include some of the, you could say, fluffier parts of marketing, right? But still incorporate
no fluff, all substance, no fluff.
There's nothing, but there's nothing wrong with that, right?
No, we have a really super creative VP of marketing who's awesome at that, and we work well together.
Yeah, which is fun, which is great, right? Because that plays to your strengths, and then I assume that plays to their strengths as well. So then your entrance into this came through you seeing an opportunity at the company, and you're like, actually, that really suits my skill set. That's essentially what you saw.
Yeah, and I also I having been through the demand gen initiation, been part of the initial like demand gen, then everybody kind of hired demand gen, and now it's really kind of box standard item that companies have. I see revenue ops there, so it's like it's right now it's a little bit edgy, it's different. People are like, what is revenue ops? It's a little bit like product marketing. It's different at every company, but I think it just makes sense because so I work for the chief revenue officer. Yeah. So there is no sales marketing alignment issues at our company. There's just us. We really use the ABM approach, and it works out really well for us. So it's great because you really should have sales ops and marketing ops under one umbrella, sort of one neck to choke. So you don't have marketing never has to beg sales ops to make a change to a field in Salesforce. That just doesn't happen here.
Yeah. Can you quickly give us a sense of the size of the revenue operations team and the kind of size of the commercial teams they're supporting?
Yeah, so we sell enterprise deals, 7-figure deals to very large companies. So we have a pretty small sales team. We've got 6 headcount there, and then our ops team is it's me. And then Silas, who's our senior manager of ops, is more of the day-to-day. And then we have some contractors that do a lot of the, call it kind of crank turning within Marketo and Salesforce. So it's a pretty small, tight team. We're about a 100-person company based in Boston and with a presence in EMEA. So.
Got it. And then the current tech stack you're running at Localytics across all of the marketing and sales.
Yeah. So one thing on the tech stack, just like caveat, I'm like very like anti big daisy chain tech stack. What I've kind of learned the hard way is if you have a big tech stack, you become really ossified and it's hard to be nimble. If you want to change something, you have to has all these implications up and down your tech stack. So I don't want to disappoint you, but we have a really in your audience, we have a very small tech stack. We've got Salesforce, we've got Marketo, we just bought Engagio for account-based marketing, and it really does a great job pulling all of our data together from our leads and contacts, and all of the activity rolls it up to an account level so we can measure engagement. We use a few point solutions, nothing huge other than Yesware we use quite a bit. But for us, we have like a few kind of small point solutions, but that's really it. We just bought Tableau, which we use for analytics, and it will help us really. You can do a lot more joins and data manipulation to your Salesforce data. We do have a data warehouse hosted on Snowflake, so we send data from all of our point solutions into our warehouse. We will be we're in the midst of just taking all that data, normalizing it, deduping it, connecting it so that we can have a single pane of glass view of our customers, and be able to roll up activity and event data up to the account level and really kind of see our accounts holistically.
Got it. And are you, as the RevOps team, responsible for defining, maintaining, and assessing new options for the tech stack? That's what you guys.
Correct. Yeah.
and then you're then kind of recommending or suggesting to the CRO what the tech landscape should be, and then he or she is just like, sure, you guys go ahead.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. So, and the way he looks at it is really like, how are we going to help our sellers? And how do we become better at our strategy? So Localytics is in growth mode, new logos. We have some really massive accounts like Verizon and Comcast, and there are many companies out there globally that look like those. So we're trying to get new logos. So we're really leaning less into the what more tech can we throw at stuff, but like how do we engage at a high level with those accounts. So as a sort of head of revenue ops, my role is, it's like technology is one part of it. It's a tool and it's really like scalable, repeatable. It's great, but use non-tech tools. Like we hired a researcher. So we have a one-person research team that really helps us understand our accounts and what their challenges are. And then and we develop pretty extensive solution briefs internally, so that when we have a conversation with a new account or prospect account, that we know more about their business than they do. So I think of everything that I do is just making our salespeople better. And if technology can do that, great. If research can do it, great. If buying orange socks and mailing it to them can help us creatively crack a door open and help our salespeople, like, great.
Got it. I totally agree. It's not about the tech, it's about the kind of results you're looking for. Can we dive a bit more into the researcher? Does that person then sit within the sales team? And what's their job title? And are they just full-time researching?
Yeah. Research consultants. So right now they're part-time. We're on a kind of pilot, and I'm hoping that goes well. So far, so good. But she just pulls in research from things you can find on the web, and press releases. There's a lot of executives that we want to go after have been quoted. So she looks at what they've been saying with regards to their digital strategy and where our solution can fit in. She has ways of getting kind of first party direct information. She can call up people within those accounts. And now I'm like getting into kind of really secret sauce here stuff. So this isn't being recorded, right?
No, definitely not.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so she can call up an account, and really, she's not a salesperson. She can ask them, hey, what's going on? How do you think about your digital strategy? How's your purchase process work? And it's just amazing what kind of information you can get just by asking nicely, even in America.
I've never heard of this role before. Because, like, otherwise, your salespeople, who admittedly may not be expert researchers, are spending their time like hours per day trawling through press releases trying to find the angle in. But you can just have this person who I assume has like an expert doing this. It just makes
exactly.
Moving on to the relationship between the ops team and the sales reps. How are you currently making them more productive, apart from obviously employing or having a part-time researcher?
Yeah, so we sit, myself and Silas sit in the sales pit. So we're part of the team. I think it starts with just having good relationships with the sellers. So we participate in all the social events, actually organize them for the team. So we do that part as well. But it's really, I think with a small team like ours, it's really bespoke. And we help the sellers day to day, whether it's just configure a quote or put a deal in that they've closed into finance. It's really kind of on the ground guerrilla, helping them day to day. And then we poll them or pulse check them every couple of months about like, what do you need? And we said, like, if you had $100 and you had to spend it on one of these 10 things or spread out your $100, how would you spend it? And from there, like, research was number one. So that led us to bring in the researcher. So it's really kind of driven by them. We give them ideas and say, here's our point of view. Here's what we think you need. But, you been doing this for a while, so like what you think, kind of up in the bleachers, up in the cheap seats, is not always what's going to help the sellers on the ground. So we try to give them ideas and ask.
Got it. And how about if you're rolling out something new, getting them to buy into doing this thing when it may take up more of the time, or how do you go about doing that?
So we just rolled out Engagio, or part of Engagio, where it gives you weekly emails and heat maps about how engagement at your accounts, and marketing is doing all this great stuff to create engagement. And then we want the sellers to be looking at these reports. So we piloted this with one of the sellers. You always pick somebody who's open to new things, who is flexible and kind of gives you feedback, good, bad, and ugly. So again, it's what we think is best is not always going to work for the sellers. So we do just really small scale, one-on-one pilots and learn, and then we push it out. And then we also think our sellers are adults, so we don't have to say, here's this report, you have to look at it, we're going to shame you if you don't log into the tool. It's more here's all these things we're providing for you. You're the CEO of your territory, you lead your accounts, and these are all the things we're making available for you. You do what's best. You're on the hook. You get the big bucks, but you're also on the hook for making stuff happen. So take advantage of what you think is going to help you get there.
Got it. And I'm sensing a kind of a liberal theme where the salesperson is not separate, but they're intelligent and good enough to know what's right, and you're there just to facilitate that. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and we also we're cheerleaders too. We make excitement, make a lot of noise, bang the gong and stuff like that to kind of help with the adoption. So it's not totally just stoic, here's the stuff and decide what you want to do, but we try to encourage adoption as well. Got
it. Can we move forward onto the forecasting process? As a revenue ops team, does that fit with you and you roll it up and run through it with the CRO? How does that process?
Yeah. So that's a process that we're kind of end of the quarter right now. So it's really kind of front and center for us, how we're going to do this quarter. But we have several different forecast categories for every deal. So there's commit deals, there's upside stretch deals as well, and then closed one. So we have the sellers categorize those themselves. The CRO scrutinizes those deals. I'm close with some of the deals, so I weigh in as well. Same with the other sales ops person. Sorry, go ahead.
So you would have a list of all the opportunities, and then you, the CRO, and the other sales ops person are going in, asking questions to try and identify any issues, or is that?
So it's the sellers categorize, take the first pass at it. And then the CRO scrutinizes it along with myself and the other RevOps person. We're not as close with all the deals, but it's really for us, it's a small number of deals. So forecasting is challenging. There are high six-figure deals, low six-figure deals. So one deal, whether it comes in or not, can kind of sway the whole thing by 20% or 30%. So I think it's definitely an evolving science here, more of an art, I guess, than a science. Yeah. But we're right at the end of the quarter. So I think we're going to end up about 10% within forecast, which actually is pretty good given the deal size.
That's pretty good. So you kind of predicted the number of deals that would close, right?
Right.
Fantastic for the process.
Yeah, that's actually the dollar value, actually.
Within 10%, and therefore you're probably within the right amount of deals that you close.
Correct, yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's get it down to 5% next month.
Yeah, easy squeezy. I'll take 10% any day.
Yeah. And then KPIs. From your, I think you've been at Localytics for 7 months, right?
Right.
What's been the most insightful sales-related KPI that you've been tracking?
So we are tracking a new KPI that I think is going to be game-changing for us. It's return on engagement.
Interesting.
Yeah. So Silas and I are actually presenting this. It's not known, but we've done a lot of research and a lot of thinking into it, and we're presenting this at the ABM Alliance in Boston next week. And so I'm not sure how familiar you or your listeners are with the concept of engagement minutes. So every activity, every engagement, websites visits, downloads, event visits, they're all assigned a number of minutes. And the number of minutes doesn't mean time. It just is a sort of random word for it. But then we have multiplier factors for the level of that person in the company, what department they're in the company as well, and the type of engagement. So if somebody visits our careers page, that's a very, very low number of minutes. If they visit our solutions page and request a demo, that's a lot of minutes. If they're a VP of digital strategy at a large telco, that gets super multiplied. So really, we're looking at this at an account level and how many engagement minutes were generated by each campaign. And then within that campaign, which we try to look granular at what channels were contributing the most and the least and of minutes. And then we combine that with dollars spent, and we get a really neat return on engagement metric.
Got it. So it's like a custom marketing score that relates to what the prospect has been doing up until the point that they buy.
Yes, and so we're really looking holistically at our market in terms of 300 named accounts that we want to go after. And marketing's job is to, quote unquote, engage with those accounts, create engagement within those accounts. And the higher up in the organization the engagement is, like a managing director rather than an intern, then there's more minutes associated with that. If there's a in-person meeting or a demo request, that's like high minute multiplier. If it's like somebody just visits our website, that's pretty low. If they open an email, that's like almost nothing. So we have charged our marketing and demand gen team with creating more engagement minutes.
Got it.
And they measure the efficiency of that with return on engagement. How much money did I spend per minute? So you've got the almighty minute is what we're going after, and we want to get as many of those as cheaply as possible. And then the alignment, the magic is that demand gen is not tracked on pipeline. They're not measured on pipeline or deals closed, because that's what sales does. So demand gen is going after engagement minutes, and not like crappy downloads from interns, but like really good high level engagement. So that's what we're going after.
So you'd have for the quarter a amount of engagement, a cost per minute, and then you can break that down into every campaign. So for the quarter, for each campaign, you had say they have like £5 per engagement minute, and then you rank them, and you'd be like, actually next quarter we'll invest more in this campaign because they got £2 per engagement minute. Or whatever.
Exactly.
That is awesome, and we haven't. If you're probably not surprised, we haven't had that. So you're presenting that at a conference next week. That's
right. Yeah, here in Boston, the ABM Alliance is in Boston. Yes, that's what we do. That's how we roll.
But unfortunately, because I would have loved to release this as like a global exclusive, but I think this interview is going to be released after you've gone live at the Boston Alliance.
Got it. Okay. All right. Well, we can do another one. I'll actually be in London in November. We could do a live announcement then. How's that? We'll do you can have the exclusive on the UK.
Yeah. Okay, let's do that. Sure. Final question: who has taught you the most, I guess, about revenue operations since you've been in the field?
Boy. I would say probably somebody I really look up to is John Miller, who's the founder of Engagio and Marketo. I think he writes a lot. I've learned from him just a tremendous amount, like about the philosophy, the approach, how to think about everything, kind of revenue related, growth related. So he's somebody I would say I've learned the most from. But I think it's a long tail of people. It's like I just read a lot and take a little bit from a lot of different people. So I listen to I like the A16Z podcast. Just learn a lot about growth and strategy. I think it's really important to as a revenue ops person to understand the business strategy and like I think where your value is. Which is different from sales or marketing ops, is to connect execution and operations to where the CEO is trying to take the company and where they're trying to seek growth, and be the sort of tell truth to power, and really like help the CEO get sales and marketing aligned to where they want to grow the business.
And there we go. I'm going to quickly summarize the points I liked. I really like the bringing in a researcher to like, especially for you guys with the higher ACVs, taking that weight off the salespeople and obviously giving better quality like insights and research for the outreach. Asking a salesperson how, like, if you had $100, what would you spend that on to make your life easier? It's like super cool. Obviously, return on engagement, which is for the people listening live, a global exclusive. So measuring the marketing activities by how much actual engagement they're creating with the right person, not just the intern downloading an ebook. And then what you said right at the end there, actually, about connecting operations and execution to actually what the strategy or what the CEO wants to do and how the CEO wants the company to grow. So many insights. Mark, thank you so much for coming on. That was really good.
Anytime. I enjoyed it, Tom.
We'll chat in November.
Sounds great. Look forward to it.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Sales Ops Demystified podcast. If you are listening on a podcast listening application, then please subscribe, rate, and review. And if you have any questions about the show, if you know a guest, or if you have any questions about sales operations, just hit me up at tomhunt@ebster.com. That's tomhunt@ebster.com.